with Top Gun Investigations. We were talking about just how high-tech world has created a lot of conveniences, but there are a lot of inconveniences as well. Earlier, you were talking about just what you would post online, pictures, and how people could locate where you are, at least get close. Can you give us an example of how that works?
I mean, the tools that we used, allow us to take a cell phone, and it could be either a picture that you've taken or a picture that you've downloaded. If the GPS coordinates are in that information, we're able to look at and find it out. And if we're able to do that, many other people can too. So we use a tool made by Guidance Software called Encase that allows us to take a copy of the picture and bring the picture up, and it looks as a normal picture when we look at the picture. But behind the scenes, there's so much other information that occurs behind the scenes that we will bring the picture up. It allows us to look at the information. We can then take and run certain, basically, routines that we do with the tool to allow us to export it out, and then we bring that information, drop it into Google Earth, and it'll pinpoint pretty much where the picture is.
Just decodes all that stuff.
Just decodes it. So, for instance, the picture I have here, I basically took in Singapore 2 years ago, and what we did was we used that picture, we dropped it into Google Earth, and it brings it all the way down, and I was standing right below that Ferris wheel looking up.
Wow.
And so the coordinates were there.
That is crazy.
So I use this as an example, but kids today, they take pictures of themselves, whether they're in their rooms, at school, with friends, or somewhere that mom and dad may not want to know where they're at.
Yeah.
They put it on Facebook, Flickr, Instagram. The problem is other people can get that information and use tools that are available and find out where that child is.
Right.
That puts them at threat. So with GPS, you said it earlier, it's a double-edged sword. Do we want GPS to find my phone or find something? But from the camera side of the house, I would urge people to talk to their children about turning it off from the camera side of the house.
Yeah. Speaking of that, I was at my son's school play a couple of months ago, and of course every parent was there with either their video on their phone or iPads, and the whole bit we were like getting ready to record. It was like shut down. No. So it's interesting because you had to log into the school district's website with your parent ID number before you could start recording anything. So that was good. All right. When it comes to protecting yourself, ID theft is just at an all-time high, and we are constantly playing defense to try and stop those things. There are a number of different scams that are happening right now that we have to be careful about.
Yeah, right now, Deborah, gas pumps, ATMs, they're going and putting little bitty, scanners on there that blend right in with the pump.
Is that what this is right here?
This is just an example of how small and convenient they are now. This is one that you can put on your smartphone, and literally, it could be a waitress or a bartender or somebody at the car wash. When you're not looking, they take your card.
Anybody who's using your card for
and they're swiping it. Next thing you know, now they're running your credit card up as high as they can get it.
So what do we do?
Well, you just, have to be careful and try to just, be diligent. Make sure you're checking your bills, your statements. If you have been victim of it, immediately, you got to call all the credit bureaus and put an alert out.
About this time of year, a lot of people get that email from the IRS. The IRS emails you and says, there's a problem here, or you've got a refund we didn't count on, and whatever. And so they start asking you to verify that this is really you. Could you put in your Social Security number, for example? I'm thinking, if you're the IRS, you already know my stuff.
That's exactly right.
So then they don't do that.
They don't, and banks don't either, and that's a lot of the people that have come and have been victims of identity theft fell for that, and thought, listen, if anybody comes to you online or on the telephone and asking for your Social Security number, your date of birth, you just tell them no thank you, and you call back the bank, or you call back the IRS if you want to.
Another way to protect yourself, too, is that I think at work, because we have all these things like our Facebook and Twitter, all that type of stuff, people forget that your work computer is not your computer, right? And whatever you do on there, they have access to.
Well, the employer does have rights, especially here in Texas. Now, some states are different, but the employer does have a right to see what is going on a work computer. You are protected in the sense that if you are getting on Facebook and logging in, that they're not supposed to record your passwords and go in and look at your stuff on there, personal stuff. But they do have an obligation. Not only that, they can use cameras, and they can put cameras up in the workplace. They can record your phone calls, but they have to make you aware of that one. But the two places that they can't put the cameras, or they shouldn't, is the restroom or a locker room, a break room, an area where you could expect to relax and you know, have some privacy.
Right,
The
right,
key
right.
piece is to keep the information that you have personal off your work computers.
Yeah.
Use your own stuff, because then you're not opening up that information to your employer or anyone else that can get a hold of it.
And then when you're at home still, in the privacy of your own home, what you post online can be there forever.
stays online.
Yeah, it stays online. And we've seen people who are applying for jobs, and it's like, that was back in my, think about your college days. How many of you, some of y'all are young, but for the folks around my age, how many of you, if your college days stuff was all online, would you probably have some problems today? Yeah, like not getting a specific job, or your kids looking at you saying, you did it, Mom, so why can't I?
Exactly.
All right, well, guys, thank you very much for giving us a lot to think about. For more on how to protect yourself and your family, we'll have information on our website, greatdayhouston.com. Oh, and don't forget to log on to our Facebook page and let us know what you'll be eating while watching the Super Bowl this weekend. We're talking the ooey gooey crunchy food that could have the ref calling a personal injury. We'll share your comments later in the show. Okay, what's the food? What's yours to downfall?
Pizza and hot wings.
Oh, yeah.
Jalapenos and ribs.
Yeah, okay, good, yeah. Jalapenos and ribs, yes. Jalapenos, okay, there you go.